What's going on, family, and welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews. And we're going to be discussing one of the funniest characters of all time when it comes to game, cartoon, and that's the Super Mario Brothers. And it's crazy how they made a movie about them in 2023, right? About close to 40 years later. But the message of love was sent directly to the fan base in this film, and not to the general audience, which I love. They catered to actual fans from the beginning. And the Mario movie to me was great. It was nostalgic. It was what an animated film should be. You know, the Mario movie I think was great. If you're a fan of Nintendo, then you will have a blast, just like I did in my kids. They sprinkled it with a whole bunch of references and callbacks, which I enjoyed thoroughly. The voice acting, a lot of people gave it slack, but honestly, I thought it was superb. You know, as soon as Mario opened up his mouth, it was Mario, in my point of view. I didn't see Chris Pratt, and even though it's Chris Pratt's voice, I didn't see Chris Pratt as Mario. I saw Mario as Mario. You can't let your reservations on Chris Pratt pass, as he's great in the movie, honestly. You know, Anya Taylor-Joy brings this optimistic spirit. Charlie Day is excellent as Luigi. I think Seth Rogen was good. I wasn't too impressed with his voice. It sounds like Seth Rogen on the Donkey Kong. But the best by far, I think, was Jack Black. You know, he stole the show, especially when he sings that song towards the end of the film. It's hilarious. You know, the animation I think was fantastic. Illumination, I think this is their best film since Despicable Me. It baffles me how realistic looking that they can make everything, even when it's a cartoon. You know, based off certain parts of the movie, it looks like obviously there's going to be a sequel at some point, and I'm excited for it as well. You know, this is a movie that feels, in many ways, a love letter to all Nintendo fans out there, even if they don't necessarily play Mario anymore, but their kids do, with their Switches, with their DESs. The film delivers a fun, very enjoyable experience for viewers like me and for little ones, by faithfully adapting every aspect of the game into the movie, from the look, the images, the actual products you see on screen, the sounds, the music. The movie's packed with non-stop action also. That might be maybe a little knock on the film. The movie doesn't give its time to breathe. It doesn't flesh out the characters. Luigi gets lost in the film, literally. If he has maybe 15, 20 minutes of screen time, that's a lot. It's pretty much a gripe about the film. It's very fast-paced. The storytelling is fast-paced. They don't really give character development to these characters, leaving little room for some of the more significant elements that fans might want to have saw. Maybe they'll bring that to the sequel. It may not be able to fulfill every fan wish, but it's understandable, and it sets up a sequel. As you know, there is that post-credit scene, and although it's a nitpick with the fast storytelling, I understand why they did it. This movie is catered to children, and you know, most kids nowadays have, you know, ADD. They can't concentrate for that much time. So I think they took this movie and said, you know what, let's just get to the point. And boy, do they really do that. You know, I think for what the movie is and what they set out to do, I think Super Mario Brothers was pretty much one of those movies that they checked off every box. You know, the boxes of it entertaining, referencing fan service throughout the movie. It was a very fan service heavy movie, which I enjoyed thoroughly. You know, being born back in 1987, you know, Nintendo was just a few years old, and I was able to be fortunate to have one. A lot of the jokes are basic, for sure, in this movie. Nothing impressive, but to me it was impressive that they were able to go ahead and do a competent movie around a video game, which you really don't get to see often. Just for like recently what they did with Sonic, I think that was amazing. Sometimes simple and straightforward is the best way, and I think doing this movie like that it's one of its high grounds. You know, it's not a special movie. It's not high art or anything like that, but it is what Mario should be at least. You know, the voice acting, like I mentioned before, wasn't bad. You know, I think Jack Black was the highlight, as expected. He's hilarious. Huge fan of his. Not gonna win any big awards, but by judging on how the movie's doing, still making over $500 million, it's on its way. You know, and it's just brilliant animation and portrayal of the Super Mario Brothers. I love the way that, you know, they make you feel for these characters. You know, towards the beginning of the film, and then, boom, you know, it goes straight into it. You know, I took my kids to this, and they were excited. You know, at first I was rather skeptical, because I was like, damn, you know, me personally, I don't really do reviews or see a lot of cartoon movies, but I was a huge fan of them. You know, playing these games was my childhood, and boy, was I wrong. You know, this film not only met my expectations, but it passed it. I think I enjoyed this film more than my kids did. You know, from the moment that the film starts, it's enjoyable. It has a very good sense of humor, a lot of nice scenes, a lot of laughable moments throughout. Apart from the film being extremely short, it still met my expectations. You know, and I even like the scene with the Mario Karts. I think that's one of my favorite scenes. They brought back every aspect of the game, and I loved it. And kudos to, you know, Chris Pratt, Charlie Day. Kudos to them bringing Brooklyn into the fold. I love that being from Brooklyn, and it's pretty much what is expected from this franchise. So definitely go and check this out. I gave this movie pretty much an 8 out of 10. There's really nothing missing in this film, you know. And if it's not a movie to take serious, people, you know, you're gonna hear negative reviews, you're gonna hear positive reviews, you're gonna be people that are split in between. But don't listen to these critics, you know. Don't go to Rotten Tomatoes. This movie is really good. Take your children to see it. They're gonna have so much fun. They're gonna absolutely love everything about it. You know, the composing in this movie, I think, was some of the best we got in an animated film. It's one of the best I've heard in a while. And 90 minutes, I think, is worth the watch. You know, all you get from this film is fun. And if you haven't played a Mario Brother game, go play one. For me, the movie lived up to the hype. You know, from a Mario fan, I might be a little biased, but it certainly did. Everything you could ever want in a Mario movie, you get it. To me, it was near perfection. For some blemishes and the pacing, but go check this movie out. Take your kids, take a loved one, and let me know what you thought about this. Whew, nostalgia. It's always coming back. But to the next one. Deuces.